Mexico has come to stand for especially difficult issues in this election. What matters most, Trump's plan to build a wall and to curtail immigration in an attempt to bring jobs back to the U.S. The drug trade has also proved divisive. But the financial roller coaster ride this election has created for Mexico and world markets is getting attention from CBS News, NDTV, and Japan's NHK.
Investors were particularly cautious as the markets opened ahead of the debate. But as they watched Clinton and Trump trade blows, they started to relax and feel more confident.
We saw the Mexican peso, which had fallen to an all-time low just before this debate started. A Mexican peso has been an indicator of a possible Trump victory.
Clinton's strong performance vis-a-vis Trump last night appears to have triggered a rise in U.S. stock futures, the Asian markets, even the Mexican peso. Analysts say that's because the financial markets view her as more predictable than Trump when it comes to trade and foreign policy.
For investors, Mexico's peso has become almost a prime indicator of which candidate is ahead. How the campaign influences the peso is explained by the Wall Street Journal's Charles Farrell and Riva Gold.
Why is the Mexican peso moving on the debate?
The Mexican peso has basically become the sort of risk proxy for Donald Trump in the markets. Donald Trump earlier in his campaign kind of signaled that he was interested in renegotiating certain key trade deals, relooking at NAFTA, and also potentially building a wall between the two countries.
The Mexican peso is basically a Donald Trump peso these days.
And that is having a very real impact on everyday Mexicans, as seen in these interviews conducted by Pan-American broadcaster Telesur.
Para nosotros que somos
There are those of us who don't have much money to purchase medicine, and now I go to Farmacia de Dios and there isn't any. And the one across the street, it's just as expensive. So yes, prices have gone up a lot.
The peso is also part of Trump's plan to build the wall between Mexico and the U.S. His plan is described here by Hispan TV.
Donald Trump asegura que de llegar a la presidencia.
Donald Trump guarantees that if he becomes president, he will force the Mexican government to pay for the wall he promises to build along the border. For this, he presented a plan to block billions of dollars in remittances that immigrants send to Mexico. The Republican presidential candidate said this is a good deal for Mexico. It would make a single payment of $5 to $10 billion to build this 1,000-mile wall.
The notion that we're going to track every Western Union bit of money that's being sent to Mexico, good luck with that.
This 2015 clip from Telesur explains why remittances matter.
I don't want to imagine what would happen to these families if the remittances didn't arrive. If today we have 50 million poor people, imagine the poverty conditions that we'd have in these areas if they didn't receive their remittances.
President Obama agrees those stakes haven't changed.
Then we've got the issue of the implications for the Mexican economy, which in turn, if it's collapsing, actually sends more immigrants north because they can't find jobs back in Mexico.